I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
I can't stop these guys. Happy Friday, everyone, from Borgata in Atlantic City. You're pointing. Oh, yeah.
This is awesome.
How nice is this? And we already remodeled the set. It's like one day. Kratz is complaining 2 weeks ago, and we came here for the first time. Welcome, everyone, and we appreciate our friends Bet MGM for putting us up here at Borgata in Atlantic City. But Kratz is like, oh, I don't want to have the seats with the podium. Is this good for you now?
I mean, I'm not sure why my voice is like that. I love when I want Scotty's like imitation voice when he's faking somebody complaining.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I was just making sure that I got everything exactly right.
That's it.
He's a 9 or a 10 on impressions. You've heard his impressions,
He's
right?
very good.
I'm like a 2. He does
Yeah,
New
he's
York
very good.
perfectly. Salvador Perez. Have you heard of Salvi Perez?
No, I haven't heard Salvi.
Give him 10 seconds of Salvi Perez saying, I am so excited that I'm at Borgata for Friday's show.
You mean Salvador Perez? Because he's ready to go and he's definitely excited. I like excited things like the Borgata because
100%.
MGM. I like it.
That's
It's good to see you. It's good to see you.
That's what
Todd.
he does.
Big old heavy hands.
Oh,
like
man.
you're like, oh my gosh.
I'm gonna
Like
have a
massive
bruise
weight
later.
just felt exactly.
So heavy.
Hey, quick shout out. So we're at Borgata, and you can earn up to 20 times slot dollar multipliers every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday through August. Visit theborgata.com for details. We're going to be here every other week throughout baseball season. So you can come say hey at some point, 1 to 3 Eastern. And let's get into it. Most importantly, today is Lou Gehrig Day. And yesterday really hit home for us when we brought on the great Baseball is the Best, Sarah Langs, with us, who is battling ALS, and not only spoke to us about what she's gone through, the connections she's making with others around the baseball community and just abroad everywhere that are sending her notes and saying thank you for publicizing an underfunded disease. So you can see on everything that we posted yesterday how to get a shirt, how to get a star to support Sarah, and also give money to ALS research. So this is a big day. And also, I will say Lou Gehrig Day getting a lot more attention these days, beyond just the maybe most famous speech in baseball history.
Yeah, 82 years ago, Lou Gehrig passed away. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
One of the best to ever played a game. The more we get going, the more years go by, the more we're getting after ALS and understanding it. They're finding better, techniques, for better words, to help with it. But yes, it's a terrible disease that, we hope they find, a cure for it here pretty soon.
When I was driving here, I was thinking about, Lou Gehrig Day, all that stuff, like the correlation between when you get traded to a team. Let's say Todd gets traded to the Pirates for, a month. While he might not have an impact like crazy on the field, the ripples of Todd being in that organization, good or bad, continue to go out. And like what Sarah's doing, like ALS sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there's a lot of people that are affected by it, but there's something that what she's doing, like while her rock in the water that she's thrown in to make ripples is like it's bigger than most people's, but it doesn't mean like every little thing that you can do, even from buying the shirt, even from wearing the hat, like there's a ripple that it's affecting people generations to come down the road. And I think it's so awesome that MLB's hit this one square on the head.
Yeah,
like,
you're
perfectly.
right. They nailed it. They have nailed it. So I encourage you to look back at the interview yesterday. In addition to that, Sarah also given us the usual stat lowdown on Ohtani, home run race, Juan Soto's resurgence, the Wii slide, which happened again last night. Right after we posted it, she posted a Wii slide. Which game was that? I'm trying to think. I was on the plane. Otherwise, I'll find it.
I gotta
We'll
look
find
at
it.
I gotta look at the results.
This is the win probability slide,
Yeah.
where a team's like 90-something%. Oh, eighth inning. Yeah.
Yeah. She talked about Shohei Ohtani yesterday. I saw a little bit how move over Babe Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even like but she dressed it up so perfectly.
Yeah,
she's like,
she was on
not,
cue.
Like, it's not even close. Like, we're not even talking about Babe Ruth anymore. It's just Shohei Ohtani. Like, he's in his own category.
Shohei show.
It's a Shohei, and today's a Shohei day.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Except his team lost, but we'll get to that because yesterday we did have Kike Hernandez on the show, and he had been talking this year multiple times about how he's not feeling like he's playing up to expectations offensively and defensively. How'd he do yesterday? 1-2.
FT Dinger.
Yeah, FT muscles. 1-2 change up. See ya over the monster or to the monster.
Yeah, over the monster.
Over the monster to the monster seats. 8-2 win for the Sox. The problem there was Chris Sale leaving with shoulder soreness, so we'll keep an eye on that one.
My God, come on, baby.
You could see too. He looked like he was about to rip some uniforms or do something. He was pissed, as you would imagine. Walking off the mound, he just has not been able to stay on the field. So we'll see what happens there. Guest-wise today, Ken Rosenthal is going to join us in about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going backwards to forwards for some reason. Ross Stripling in about 40 minutes, and we'll get to Whit Merrifield in about 15 minutes. And Whit was texting. He's excited to make a little announcement about a pretty big tournament. He gave us like a sneak peek about this golf tournament.
Shh, don't say yeah.
I won't say anything else.
Okay.
Hey.
You get a hit with it.
Yeah, I can't wait till we talk to you. We're gonna have to find a way to get to that.
In the tournament?
In the tournament.
Oh, well,
man, I
you
just
guys
come and
asked.
hang out.
Yeah, you can be my caddy.
Is it a
That's
tournament or a tournament?
Tour. I hate that.
What is it?
That's an argument for me.
It is. Like, look at us. Look at us. We are so. All of us are right.
It's not a tournament.
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
listen.
So many.
But I
senses.
always tell everybody, I said, listen, when I have this argument with people, they say it's a tournament. I said, well, say the PGA what? They say the PGA Tour. I said,
Yeah.
Exactly. I said
Exactly.
enough.
You
I
know,
said,
tourney. Do you say tourney?
no.
No.
You know, if it's like,
No,
I'm
they
playing in
do.
the tourney.
My wife thinks it's a tournament.
Yeah.
Tournament.
It's like it's a
That's
very
an
regional
argument
thing.
where, yeah.
Tournament is a
Yeah.
very regional thing.
Yeah,
It's
no
like
doubt. No doubt.
Jersey, New York. I don't know about Boston. They probably say the F word right before.
Flipping tournament.
Yeah, flipping tournament.
Yeah, they
Over
probably
here,
say
have a
tournament.
yad.
I'm putting it in our notes to ask Whit. So
Yeah,
we'll let him
I
decide.
Yeah, we'll put him in there.
He's the tournament guy.
He's
I've
going to
been-
be the final.
I've been on
tournament.
many arguments about that topic.
Ah,
I didn't know it was so heated. So we'll find out.
PGA Tour.
no, nobody says
The
tournament.
PGA Tour. Let's charge the mound, shall we? And this is a guy that we have spoken about quite a bit, but not in the last few weeks. He's back. Jordan Walker.
Kratzy's boy. Hey, you
Is
brought
that
it
your
up.
boy?
Do you remember last time we talked about it? Don't let the kids play. Don't send him down. We're going to see how he is now. We're going to see his juju, his mind, his emotion. You were right, though. You said the same thing. They'll probably eventually bring him back up. And
Whether he deserves it or
whether
not.
he deserves it or not. Yeah.
He struggled there. Up in the last couple weeks, he played better, but he wasn't tearing the cover. You know how sometimes you send a guy down? Like even we talked about Joe Adele a couple times this year, and the dude's hitting a home run every other day, slugging like
Keston Hero.
800, Keston Hira. That wasn't Jordan just now. He had never played AAA, but it's not like they sent him down and immediately boom. He actually struggled immensely the first, 2-ish weeks. He's been playing better lately. I'm also imagining, sure, you can break down, hey, we got to rework the swing. We need more fly balls, tap into the power. I'm also just imagining for him, you're hyped up as hell. You get called up to the show, and 5 seconds later, when you're hitting 270 something, they send you back down. I would lose a little bit of adrenaline, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Pull the plug. Wah, wah. Like, it has to be. The thing that I don't know, like, that I wouldn't know really how to, like, conceptualize. One, he's a prospect. He's 20 years old. I was still in
When
college.
you're done, I'll tell you.
But
I got to go.
he was hitting 279 in the big leagues. Like, now my thing is, like, and this goes into the whole, like, do you just use all the young kids' options up just because you can? I don't think so, but, like, now he's going up there. It's like, okay, 279 was not enough. Now I got to do more. Anytime you say you got to do more, anytime you get a contract and you're like, all right, I got to prove this contract. It doesn't work. Anytime you, like, and he wasn't killing it in AAA. And so he could slough it off and be like, it's okay. That's all right. I'm good. But at 20, to be able to do that, you got to be elite, advanced. But
See, and now my example would be this. I got called up for the first time 2 months in the season. I'm batting 302. I remember yesterday. We're
in
playing
Louisville,
in Louisville. So I got called up. Who was the Baltimore AAA team there in Virginia?
Norfolk.
Norfolk. The guy at the club there, I forget his name too. He's like, everybody gets called up here.
He always makes cookies and brownies.
Oh, the best ones.
So
I got called up to Philly, played pinch hit, struck out. Next day I come in, Dusty goes, "Hey man, I've never done this before, but we got to set him down. Bronson only won an inning in the third. We need another pitcher." Bro, I lost 40 points on my average. A month and a half later, I got called back up. I said, "You know what? My mind is set. Nobody's feeling sorry for me. Get back on the horse and go get it." And I ended up having a pretty good year after that. I played. Roland went down and played third for a month and a half. Then simultaneously, he came back. Votto got hurt. I played 2 months there. Batted like 273. Had a really good, I don't even know if you considered it a rookie year, but
first year.
And I know exactly, not necessarily to the point of what I went through, but kind of along those lines, getting sent down for like, I didn't do anything wrong. I've been tearing the cover off the ball. So like, what the heck?
And you actually did worse.
Yeah.
And then you go down there, like guys lose,
you lose a little bit of like your sense of like, what the hell, I've been working my ass off here. What the hell else do I need to do? So it's like, yeah, it's frustrating.
And now multiply that by 8 years.
Yeah.
Being in the minor leagues for 8 years. Multiply that by getting sent down again and going back to minor league. It's so important to have a mindset
Gotta
when
be
you
strong.
have this kind of
You
stuff.
got to be strong.
And the guys who aren't, the guys who are like, "Oh, bro, it's okay, man. Like, I'll just figure it out."
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, you're not.
You're not just going to figure it out. You have to put the effort in, whether it's mentally, physically. To me, physically starts the first day.
Mhm.
Like, that's the first thing you do, and then everything else adds on top of that.
Then you go back to AAA, and the boys like, "Good to see you again. What the hell happened?" And you got that going on. You're like, "Oh man, I don't want. I
I'm gonna
never
do
want
more.
to." Yeah,
I was in 300. They
Yeah.
didn't keep me there. I'm at 320,
Yeah.
and then you're in 260.
exactly.
Dang it.
What are you gonna do?
Well, the Cardinals need to get going too. I mean, we talked about them making a little push, and then they're still 7 games under 500 right now. They're 25-32.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's insanely worried about them
No.
because the division just hasn't played well. But 25-32, you're 7 games under 500.
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, as a ball club, especially, sure, you can make some noise in your division, but are you really going to be a legit playoff team like this? You know what's going to happen here.
They weren't a legit playoff team to start the season.
It's anybody.
But they can be.
It's anybody's race in that division.
Yes.
The
Legit
Cubs are
playoff teams
4.5. I'm looking here. The lowest standings. Cubs are 4.5 away from first place.
What are the Cardinals?
Cardinals are 4.5 as well. They're
Yeah.
tied for last.
Cardinals need starting pitching, and guess what? I think they're going to be one of the better contenders to pick a guy up or two because they've got a decent farm system. Well, Eduardo Rodriguez, see ya. Not getting him now. Maybe Giolito. I think he's getting traded.
You know who I think is the big, and just heard it today, and everybody's going to be in on him? Shane Bieber.
Wow.
Shane Bieber. Because think about who
Yeah,
else is
why not?
out there. Everybody thinks they have a shot. But if you go into a series, you're going in with Shane Bieber. You're like, you want Shane Bieber to be your 2 or 3 if you're going into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a difference now between so many teams making it in and actual playoff contenders, not just teams who make the playoffs. I think the Cardinals can slug their way into the playoffs, yes. But when they get there, who do you have? And that's why the Phillies, like whatever happened with the Phillies last year, they always had Nola and Wheeler looming. And Ranger Suarez, as the season goes, he just continues to improve. He's going to do the same thing this year. So, I mean, that was just last year's example. And then look at the Braves. The Braves had this ridiculous, they had a great run going all the way up. They still have their lineup. And then who laid an egg in the playoffs? Strider.
Yeah.
Against a team that never touched him in the regular season. He was throwing 94. So you got
They didn't touch him for a few innings.
And then all of a sudden it was like,
He had been on the IL too for a while,
Right.
so it wasn't the same
So-
dude. Imagine it's like your first year, you hit the IL, you got to rehab with nothing and come back into the postseason. He pitches, what was it? I think 3 clean innings,
3 dominant innings again.
and then
And it looked like,
fell off.
oh, no.
Yeah.
We're not going to get him. And then the bat slam heard around the world by Reese Hoskins, which it's another story. The Phillies are missing him right now.
Yeah, well, let's get into that. Okay, so Phillies lose again. Scherzer dominates. There's a lot to unfold in this one. Let's go on the Mets side, okay? Because
All the time.
Max is back. People
You
are hating on Max.
You know he's back when he starts chirping again about the game or something else.
He's feeling it.
His last 4 starts have been incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, but that long arm strut that he does after
Yeah.
he strikes it, and he like walks around.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's thinking
Yeah, I
about.
know
What he's
exactly.
doing.
The head more,
Yeah.
100%.
He leads with his
He's
head.
feeling himself.
He's feeling himself.
He is.
He had 9 of them things. 9 struts yesterday, but he was rapping a lot after the game.
Yes, he was.
He was. Let's go over some quotes. So he was pissed at Trip Gibson home plate ump because he didn't let him get the one
He
extra
didn't let him
warm-up
get 8
pitch.
pitches.
I don't think he was
Not
pissed
at Trip. He's pissed at the league for being
The
so
rule.
strict with
The rule.
Trip.
Yes.
Because he said Trip goes, if I don't do this, the league's going to freak out at me. I'm going to get in trouble. Right? It sounds
And
like
I love how
sounds
we
like
brought him into
elementary
that.
school.
Yeah, I love how we brought him in on that quote too. And Tripp goes to me, MLB's going to get pissed at me if I don't do it. Like, good.
That's kind of throwing him under the
No.
bus.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, whatever, bro. Hey, you opened your mouth, so what? What are you going to do? Listen, that's Max though. Like he's intricate about what he does. He wants anything done a specific way. He doesn't mind the speed up rule, but he thinks in between innings, pitchers should get how many pitches they want.
Or just a little bit of leeway. If you need 8 warm-up pitches and you're on 7, and he's like, clock, that's it.
That's what they do, though. That's
Yes.
what these umpires are taught to do.
Well, because the inning hits, the clock goes, and it's like if everything's not perfectly in place and you needed one more pitch,
He should
we
have
got
taken
10
a
more
one-more
seconds.
pitch, and he would have got ball 1. Yeah,
right?
ball 1.
You're right.
I mean,
I just think they need to allow court awareness for the umpires. And I think they're hamstringing the umpires, and the umpires are like
they're putting it all in that.
they are. There's no nobody out there going, oh yeah, I told Tripp to do that. They're like, no. Like Tripp did it, and then he just Max just under the bus.
He roasted him. He said we're living and dying off the clock. My thing with Max is I think he's right on this part. For umps, let them be. They're adults. Let them be adults. That an extra warm-up pitch is not affecting anything besides making sure, most likely, that the dude feels good to go for the next inning. And also, let's make sure injury prevention is in place. Remember when we had to talk about Harper not getting an extra few seconds with the guard that he had, that big guard that he had on? I'm like, guys, it's 5 seconds. I get it on the pitch. During the AB, if you start wavering on that, you know what I'm saying? Aside from, hey, here's a guy who is coming back home, he gets the ovation. We've talked about that. But during an AB, you can't just start being like, oh, I'm going to up the pitch clock to 22 this time, or I'm going to give him a few extra seconds. But in between innings, in between at-bats, that's the kind of shit where I'm like, relax.
What if we kept the pitch clock and we had, like, what are the games now? I think they're like 2 hours and 39 minutes is like the time of game, somewhere in there.
Yep.
What if we had like a pace clock? Not that it ever changes. Like you're right on pace for that type of game, and it's like a red or green kind of clock where it's like, hey, we're 2 minutes ahead. It's okay if Max Scherzer in the 7th inning needs a breather because we're ahead, and you're just kind of like clock,
Too
not
much.
manipulation.
I think it's too much.
But
I don't know.
just for the umpires to be able to see it. No players need
I think
it.
they want it as short as possible. That's why they're doing it. I think I understand what you're saying. I think it's a great idea. But for me, knowing how MLB works and functions, they don't want 239. They want 229. When they want 229, they want 219.
I don't think MLB wants that. I think it's the writers and people that wrote all these stories that are like, yes, like this is definitely what we want, because it was not a player-driven thing. Hey, we want quicker games.
Sure. Yeah.
It was not an MLB that never drives anything. What was the last thing MLB was like? We're getting behind this. This is our idea. No, it's like, oh wait, we hear a lot of complaining. Is it really complaining? Okay, yeah, it is complaining. Now they're reactive. They're not proactive.
Okay. Understood. I see your point.
Yeah, and I mean, the time of game has been effective. The pace of game has been effective. So my thing is mostly everything's worked out well. Right?
Okay,
You're not
for
hearing
sure.
a ton of complaining like this. Max is very outspoken, and he should be, and we like that when he comes on. And we talked to him about the sticky stuff with the rosin and the sweat. And 2 days later, the league's coming out.
Got him. Got him.
Conspiracy theory.
What do you think? Yeah, I love conspiracy theories. I love it. What do you think? What do you think of Mike? If Max Scherzer would agree to be mic'd up, what do you think you would get out of it? I mean, if these are the kind of comments he has after a game, he's had time, or is he like spaghetti? Like the longer you let it simmer, like.
No, I think. All right, go ahead. I interrupted you. I don't know where you were going with spaghetti. But
No,
go ahead.
you're good.
The longer you let it simmer, keep going.
The longer you let it simmer, the more mush it gets.
All right, I wanted to hear that last part. I was going to use it, but then it wasn't good. So.
My father's an El Dente guy.
He likes it.
No,
he likes mushy.
I like mush. I like my broccoli mushy. I like everything.
Wow.
I don't like my things hard.
Nothing crisp.
French fries. Chips.
Yep.
You know what I like crisp?
What?
Waffles.
Really?
In the toaster.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey,
he hasn't had a waffle since.
Oh, I can have a waffle. It's just a different kind of waffle.
Yes. Wait,
I'll make him
what kind of waffle?
Gluten-free.
Gluten-free.
I'll make him some waffles with some oats in it, but that's for another story.
Yeah.
My buddy brought me some real maple syrup from Maine the other day.
Who?
My buddy brought. I love it. You don't like real maple syrup?
Oh, it's the best. It's the only thing I have.
That was good.
I don't have no Aunt Jemima. What is it called? Aunt Jemima's?
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
But they're all good syrups. You know what I mean?
I love it. Yeah.
But for Max, when we get back to that, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you're good.
I love it.
Your ERA is phenomenal. The last 4 starts you had, you're throwing in the upper 60s, upper 90s.
Yeah.
Sorry,
he was
upper 60s. I got a chance. Yeah.
And you know what? When the velo was a little less consistent than it's been the last few starts, it actually helped him a lot with developing not 1, not 2, but 3 off-speed pitches, and the fastball's playing off of that. So he turns 39 next month. His ERA is in the low 3s only because of the slow start. 3 runs in his last 25 innings with 28 Ks and 4 walks. So that's why I said I'm not concerned about the Mets. Because if Scherzer and Verlander are pitching well, if they're on the field,
he's been on. I'll be honest, he's been
they'll
on
be fine.
A couple teams.
They're not going to top the Braves, but that's a playoff team, and I don't want to mess with them with those 2 guys.
I think it's going to be a lot closer than you think.
Really?
I do. When they get on these runs, it's watch out. But you're right though. Like
Atlanta's offense is way better. No,
way better.
I think way better.
Way better.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Acuna's the MVP.
I think it's
Sean
they're
Murphy's
better, but
probably number 2.
Who's better? Who's better on the what 2 positions are better?
I'm taking Pete Alonso first base.
Okay.
Right, over Olsen, but it's close. Right? Because
100% is
going to
close.
hit 50.
You said
Olsen's
way better.
Hit 45.
I'm not saying way better.
That's okay.
I'm saying
we're talking the positions that they're close. Okay, the
Brandon
Mets,
Nimmo,
yes.
center field.
I think the only runaway, which Alvarez is showing he might be legit. He might be what the prospects ordered.
No, but
he's got catcher.
He's got a ways to go.
He's got ways to go. He's not Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy was getting MVP consideration early in the season.
No, I agree.
And shortstop. Lindor is better than Orlando
How
Garcia.
about Brandon Nimmo, center field?
Against the
He's in right field, I thought. Did they move him? Is he bouncing back and forth?
He's doing both, but
okay, give me center field.
No, you're right.
But,
You got
all right,
Nimmo.
then give me right. No, I can't because I got to take Nimmo in center field.
Yeah,
I'm putting Acuna in right.
You're putting Acuna in right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when I watch the games, he's in right field the whole time. And for me, at least,
that's fine.
I would love to see the splits on that. But
I mean,
also, I'm not Jeff McNeil. I mean, he's solid.
Yeah, no, their offense will be better.
I'll take Jeff McNeil over Ozzy Alvarez.
First of all, yes, Acuna's mostly in right. Harris was out for a while.
Yeah.
He's back. When he's on the field, he's really good. But no, he's not Nemo with the bat.
There's some similarities in there. I'm not saying they're better offense, but they're not way better.
You feel like it's close.
I think it's close.
Yeah. No, I mean, I disagree with you. But
that's fine.
Our guy's ready to go. First guest ready.
Get a hit with.
Who we got?
2-hit Whit. Whit Merrifield joining us right now live on Foul Territory. Whit, how you doing,
What's
man?
up?
Where you at?
So, guys, I'm in New York right now.
I thought you were sleeping just now. I don't know. Maybe the camera's off. Yeah. You were mesmerized.
Well, this New York Wi-Fi is not great, I don't think.
Oh, you're not kidding. Yeah, you got to pay for that. So did you pay the $9.99 fee or what?
No, it's free, so it's probably even worse.
Oh, good stuff, man. So you're in New York now, man. How are you? Let me ask you this. So you playing against the Yankees and Mets? Give us a little insight, because I play for both of them. Like, give us so the fans can understand who's got the better food after the game. What's the spreads like? How's it? So talk to us about the food wise.
Well, this actually will be my second time playing the Mets. I've only in I guess Citi Field. Only the time I came with my rookie year, so that was 2016, and I don't remember a whole lot about locker room and food and everything. Yankee clubhouse, Yankee spread is tough to beat. So I'm interested to see what it's like with the Mets, but Yankees is a different thing.
So all right, the Yankees spread is way better. Everybody knows that. Are you tipping better at Yankee Stadium, or are you tipping better New York? And you can't give me the answer. Oh, we don't have to tip anymore because we don't get clubhouse dues.
At Yankee Stadium, just because we come here more, So and I got to know Dan and Miguel over in the kitchen, and Lou does some stuff for me. So those guys get the better tip. But again, I don't remember a whole lot about the Mets. I don't really. So I'm interested to see what it's like over there.
Yeah, so when you go into the Mets, you got to get yourself a pistachio muffin. On the visiting side, they get pistachio muffins. You guys got a day game, I'm assuming, getaway day?
Sunday, we got 4 o'clock tomorrow, which is the worst start time in baseball. And
it's the worst.
1 o'clock.
That's the worst. What do you do on a 4 o'clock start time, though? Like, are you eating breakfast at the field? Are you getting a muffin? Do you get your event? Do you just hold a coffee with the Starbucks? Look at me.
Yeah, no, I'll it's terrible. It's early enough to where you get to the field early still, and it's too late to go and really have dinner afterwards. Even though my sister's birthday this week, so I'm gonna go have dinner with her and stay up a little later tomorrow night. But just the worst time. I'm not sure who thinks it's a good idea. And the shadows were always bad. It used to be cloudy tomorrow, so that might help a little bit, but bad idea. 4 o'clocks.
I want to get into baseball talk. So, from starting my career in the big leagues, I was a super utility guy. I want to ask you the question: how does it feel to going back and forth from second base to the outfield? Now, kind of going back there, has it played with your mind a little bit? Because I know for me, I struggle a little bit. And I remember Eric Davis, my mentor, always said, "Man," and he always told me in these meetings, you got to find one spot for the guy and let him prosper. And that kind of settled me down. So, how are you feeling about that situation now?
Well, I've been bouncing around really my whole life. So from that aspect, I'm comfortable doing it. I do feel like when I get to play in a position on a regular basis, like I did in 2021, I can play a lot better. In 2021, I had a chance to win a Gold Glove, won the Fielding Bible Award a second, and I've been pushing to get to be able to play in one position my whole career, and they really didn't let me do it until that year. So was happy to get at least 1 year under my belt of doing that. But really the biggest thing for me with it was, since I wasn't really like a big prospect or a big money guy, I got sort of labeled a utility man because I could play multiple positions. And when you get that label, it's like a bench role is what people think of you as. And so breaking that mold was the hardest thing for me. Once I got past that, bouncing around is something that has always come relatively natural for me. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, you've been grinding. You've been grinding the whole time. But let's say you're talking to a younger kid that's in the minor leagues. Like, do you think that's really like a path for somebody? Like, how many guys come up as, hey, I'm a utility guy? Like, you had to grind for 6 years in the minor leagues because you didn't have a position. You had that label. Like, what do you talk to? What do you tell a minor league guy?
Yeah, it's sort of, I guess, the level. Now, I don't want to say kind of player you are, but level of prospect you are. If you're a kind of a mid-range or lower tier prospect, that could be your foot in the door to get to the big leagues. Is that, hey, we know this guy can play multiple positions, so he can got to go for our roster. Whereas you're not like top prospect shortstop. So when they need a shortstop, you're not the guy they call. But when they need a bench role, you're the guy that gets the chance. If you can move around, you get up there, you open some eyes, you play well, and then you get a spot in the big league. So it's definitely got got some good to it for sure. But like I said, there is kind of that bench role that comes with the utility label that sometimes can keep you a little bit handcuffed.
For sure, and you've had a great career about it. And the reason I asked that is because we had some some Reds fans. Some Kirk Herbstreit was on here yesterday. He's a huge Reds fan, and we really talked about Ellie De La Cruz. Ellie De La Cruz is this hyped up like Tatis / Eric Davis type of player. And they're talking about, oh, well, we got to move this guy, or should we move him, or should we not move him? Should we move Jonathan India? You've been every one of the, well, you haven't been an elite prospect, but you've been the guy that's needed to move. Does it affect your development, or is it all just a personal like how it affects you only, and you can't really answer for somebody else?
Well, it can definitely affect your development at that position. You're not getting constant reps and constant game reps in one position. You're not gonna play as well as you were if you were getting everyday reps. Doesn't mean you can't be good at it, but you're not probably going to be as good at it. Just like anything else, if you don't do it as much, you're not going to be as good at it. But I mean, the way the game is moving, versatility is becoming important, and I think teams are starting to value it more. So there's benefit to it. I think it can increase longevity in the game if you show that you can do multiple things and play multiple positions. So there are pros to it, but there are cons to it as well. Like we talked about, you're just not going to maximize your defensive ability if you're constantly bouncing around. But you are maximizing value in another way. So it's just all how you look at it.
Hey, Whit. So yesterday we had Kirk Herbstreit on this topic. So we were talking about Jonathan India and the Reds and all of that. He's a Red super fan. So we actually brought you up later on in the conversation. As I said, big SEC guy. I was like, he's playing in the SEC right now. It's called the AL East. And He was good on it. He was like, I agree. There's powerhouse clubs. They're separating. And I said, wait, though. It's not even just all the big money clubs. Like, the Orioles are playing well. The Rays are playing well. So update us from a few weeks ago on how annoying it is to play in this division right now, even though it's fun and it's competitive and this is the real big leagues. For you guys, you've had some struggles against this division. No surprise. It's a gauntlet. So what are guys saying about it?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest complaint that when you're not playing well, you can't seem to avoid moving down in the – you're not just going to hover if you're not playing well. So you can't really afford to go through long stretches of not playing well as a team. And we just had a stretch where we weren't playing great, and we just happened to play like 2.5 weeks straight of the AL East. So it was a bit frustrating for us, but it's still quite the season. We still have a good number of games ahead of us. With the new schedule, we don't play the AL East as much, so we don't really have a chance to, I guess, make up ground in division against those guys as much of a chance as we have in years past. So we got to take advantage of the other teams that we're playing. We just tough stretch. We just won back-to-back series against first-place teams, the Brewers and the Twins. So we feel pretty good about that. Got a big series against the Mets coming up, and looking to continue to play good baseball. And that's what we've been lacking for the last couple of weeks. But we feel like we've sort of picked it up a little bit the last couple of days.
Hey, up and coming here, we read about this Pro Athlete Golf Tour. I am really ecstatic about this because I always thought about, not me personally doing it, but having this kind of tour. I think it's great. November 23rd to December 2nd. You're hosting this.
29th.
November 29th to December 2nd. You announce it. Go ahead. Talk to us about it. Go ahead. I'm just fired up, man. I think it's gonna be awesome.
Because he wants to play.
Yeah, hopefully the Wi-Fi will stay good so I can nothing will get jumbled here. But we've been really excited about this. Working on it since October. Previewed it a little bit last time I was on here, but now we're at the point where we're about to start sending out invitations. It's going to be a full-on golf tournament for guys that love to play golf. It's going to be a 4-day event, a 3-day tournament. There's going to be a couple multiple parties. It's going to be there's going to be, as of right now, we got a purse for the winners that is upwards of $150,000. There's going to be 3 ways to win. There's going to be a gross winner, be a net winner, and then there's going to be a team aspect to it as well, so that after day 1 you'll get paired into teams, so that way you never really feel like you're out of contention if you have a bad day. It's going to be a Stableford format. We're looking at getting 48 guys. Invitations will start going out next week, the first round of invitations. I encourage you, if you get an invitation that shows up at your locker, for those players that are watching this, to RSVP to it. Whether you're coming or not, that way it'll give us a chance to send out the next round of invitations and know kind of what we need moving forward. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be at Ritz-Carlton in Orlando. It's very family friendly, so feel free to bring families. Your payment is going to take care of your room and what's covered for the tournament. Your entry fee for the tournament. There's going to be an awesome gifting suite. You're going to get some really cool stuff. There'll be prizes throughout the course of the tournament. It's just going to be a really fun event. If you enjoy golf, if you like playing golf competitively, which a lot of us don't really get to do. We get to play in charity tournaments, which is amazing, but those competitive juices aren't quite the same as if you buy into a tournament and you're playing for a lot of money. So that's kind of what this is going to, I think, bring out some of those competitive juices baseball players have. So we're excited about it. And again, invitations will start coming out next week. And if you have any questions, there is a website, Instagram page, and always feel free to reach out to me as well if any players have questions on the event. But looking forward to it, looking forward to seeing everybody, and looking forward to playing some good golf.
That's awesome. And we'll post all the information on it too. So I agree, charity golf tournament, having some beers on the course, just hanging out, whatever, hit a shot, talk to some fans. This is going to be heated, which I think is good. You guys are all competitive. Everybody we bring on just about loves talking about golf. So why hasn't this existed? Did you look around and go, hey, why aren't there competitive tournaments like this for all the guys to get the competitive juices flowing, bring the guys together too in the off season at a good time, right before, like you give the separation of after the season and calming down, and then it's before any kind of, New Year's, spring training kind of situation. So how did it all come together?
Yeah, I mean, really just what you said. I mean, we're just talking about it at the bachelor party, actually, Brady's bachelor party with some people. And really with this, the matches that have gone on, started over COVID, with watching those and seeing how fun and engaging it seemed to be. We thought, we could do something like this for baseball players. Thought it was a good idea. Wasn't sure logistically, how we can make it work, but crossed a lot of those barriers, and we think we have a really good situation. It's going to be a week before I think it's the RBC when Tiger plays with Charlie and John Daly and his son play. All the father sons get to play together, or family members, I should say. So it's right before the week before that at the same golf course. So we're thinking the golf course is going to be in great shape, and it's going to be. Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be great weather, because I know the competitive juices are going to come out, and it's going to be a lot of fun for these guys that like to play golf.
I feel like you should expand it to some other events too, like ping pong is going to be at the same time at the Ritz. I feel like we could get some bocce ball or something, because nobody ever wants to do sprints or anything. People are going to get hurt.
Cool.
But you could do pool, yeah. You could do swimming in a pool. A full athletes. No, we got to see like a whole decathlon. It'd be great.
No way.
Yeah.
Krasny, if you come and have a swim off against somebody, I think people would pay to watch that. That would
see. Am I wrong? Like
Amir
exactly.
Garrett, Michael Lorenzen, celebrity boxing match.
That's gonna be at the convention center. Like we gotta see fights like that. We gotta see stuff like that. Like I want to see the ping pong / swimming competition, and I'll wear a Speedo.
Well, then that might turn people away. I don't know. But,
That might turn them away. Okay.
Yeah, that might turn them away a little bit.
But the only hang on. The only issue
I've seen
that
you
I
in a
have.
shower. I don't want to see you in a Speedo.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I appreciate that. Appreciate the shower stories. The question I have, and this is real. Like me, Todd, and AJ, we don't have lockers anymore. You said the invitation's going to be on their locker. Do you know where my locker is? Because I built lockers in my garage. I just got to make sure you know where it is. The people who are sending out these invitations.
So senior tour, you're asking? Is there going to be a senior tour?
The first round of invitations are going to current players only. We got a number of those that are going out.
Stop.
Again, we're looking at 48 guys. We're not sending out 48 invitations in the first round, but they are going to current players only. Get a feedback from those guys as to who wants to come and who can't come. And then we've got former players on our list as well that'll go out round 2. But the former players, you guys won't get the cool like Masters style invitation. You guys will get an email. So check your email.
Wait,
Not quite.
Hey, listen, you're keeping it real. That's why I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
You're just going to get the email. Hey, I'd be happy with an email. I'm not like him. I'm not a press. Send me an email. I sign it the first minute. Don't worry about that.
I mean, Whit, you think this deserves an email? Like I'm coming out on that course. I'm coming out wrong. I might come out with some Daisy Dukes on just to ruin your golf course. How about that?
Well, you're not making a good push as to get an email.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, ask him the burning question though. What is this called?
This is really the burning question. Okay, like because this is like I don't want to bury the lead here for you, but so the NCAA basketball what? NCAA basketball what? What's the word? How do you say it?
It's with a T.
Tournament. TER. Tournament. Tournament.
See, I told you. I told you.
Not
Whit would get it
tournament.
wrong.
Not
It is
tournament.
okay. Okay.
It is. Oh man.
Tournament.
It's a golf what?
Tournament.
PGA.
No.
PGA.
The PGA what?
Champ. PGA Tour.
The
Yeah.
PGA Tour. Okay, so how do you spell
Tour.
tour?
TOUR. Tour.
How do you spell the first 4 letters of tournament?
Yeah.
Tournament. Yeah. Look, man. I didn't come up with the Southern lingo. All right. I was just raised in it, and it's just how it comes out.
It's just your burden in life. I get it.
Wait, let me ask you this. Have you gotten any responses yet? Like, do you know of people that are going to come to this tournament?
Yeah. So I mean, I got nothing like no official RSVPs with payments and everything, but there are a lot of guys that have, especially after I was on here last time, that reached out to me that are excited about playing in it or potentially playing in it because some of them are former players. But there's I got a good back and forth going with Jordan Romano with the Blue Jays because he really wants to play, but frankly, he's not good enough. I don't think
He sucks. That's fine.
to compete, and so I keep telling him, he's not on the first round of invitations, and he's not very happy about that.
Dude, he's keeping it real. That's all.
Yes.
That's all we can ask. Now, you said you have to buy in to get in here. Like, do you have? What's the price range? Is it like crazy price, or is it like something like Eric and I can afford?
Maybe you
So
die.
it's $6,500, and that covers your entry fee to the tournament and covers 4 nights at the Ritz.
That's all. That's great.
So it seems for leaguers relatively fair, and that also covers. I don't want to get this wrong here, but I think breakfast and lunch, and 2 parties, and like I said, we're gonna have a great gifting suite. So.
Yep, you got a welcome party and the Saturday award ceremony.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I can't discourage that enough. It's gonna be a really good time.
All right, and I'm gonna say some names, and you can just say yes or no if that's all right, because I'm really intrigued. If that's
All
okay with you. All right,
Yeah.
Mike Trout, did he get an invitation?
He'll get an invitation, yes.
Okay.
You're such
All
a
right,
front
so-
runner.
I'm just going. Hey, listen, I'm going. Listen.
Hey, you saw he's
No.
always building a course, right? I'm making my push to get a membership there.
You're the smartest man. You're just one of the smartest guys I know.
The best
Wait,
way to get an
you've changed, Whit.
Now I'm going with all good golfers here because from when I played, I remember Aaron Hicks. Is he going to give an invitation?
He's going to get an invitation. Yep.
And then my last one would be Jeff McNeil.
Jeff McNeil will be getting the invite. Ian Happ. Invite.
Yeah, you get there's some really good golf. I'd be intrigued. I'd want to watch this on TV.
Absolutely. You guys going to have it on TV or anything?
So we're working on it. Yeah, we feel pretty good about it. It's not official yet, but we are working on getting it televised.
Very nice.
So,
Do you need a media network to shoot it? I'm just saying.
We got a couple broadcasters here.
I'll get my people in touch with your people, and we can make it work.
Whit, you're back. You're back. Whit.
Krasinski's dying to be like the Charles Barkley of
He's an ex-player.
analysts on this.
Oh, he did say he's going to ask
tournament.
former.
What?
He said after the first invites go out, they'll go to former players.
No, I know, but I'm saying like AJ. He maybe wants to play. I think he wants to broadcast.
Yeah.
He wants to be like,
But he definitely wants to play it too. But he would like to broadcast. It's right downtown for him. It's right next to him.
It's in his backyard.
Right at your
He's going to
house.
be name dropping his ass off.
Oh, it's gonna be. Oh, if you get AJ in this thing,
Don't do it.
yeah, it'll be like that annoying. It'll be like that annoying guy that's got 6 years in the big leagues and he's back in AAA and he's gonna be like, oh yeah, right over there. That's where Joe West lives. It's like, come on, AJ, we don't care.
Well, he's the mayor. Do you invite the mayor of Orlando to a tournament in Orlando? That's the question.
You have to.
Yeah.
Don't invite him to play though. Invite him to just hit the first ball off the tee and that's it. Just like an
Like first
honorary, like a first pitch.
Like the Jack Nicklaus. All right,
Like
he's
the
old
Jack
enough for that.
Nicklaus. And tell him he's not good enough.
He's old enough for that.
All right. Back to baseball for a sec. How's the Yankees-Blue Jays rivalry? Because we didn't talk to you since that series. Most of the world absolutely
I got
loved
on first base,
everything.
and me and Rizzo were talking, and we're like, we're have all the players come on the field and let the coaches just go at it. That's where the rivalry was at the last week. The coaches just wanted to get after it, and we were like, all right, go after it.
A bunch of coaches that just spend like 90 minutes on the elliptical and they're like they think they're all jacked and so they got all this testosterone and they're just yelling at each other on the field.
That's it. What it was.
That's true.
But, it's good. I mean, it's good. It's good for the games, good for the cities. Two good teams competing, and when you have that, it's bound to come out.
You got it. You got Luis Rojas at third base, bro. He was one of my managers back in the day. You better tell who was it? Walker in there?
Yeah, Pete was hollering at him.
I don't know. Pete might have to slow down a little bit because Luis is a strong dude.
Luis would take him good.
That was funny.
Yeah. I would like to see that. That'd be good. Maybe that's what we can do with the golf tournament. We have coaches get after it.
There you
Yes.
go. Nice.
Celebrity boxing and/or wrestling. We set up like 3 brawls. 1 player, 1 coach, 1 GM.
What? A GM?
Then we haven't seen it. We have Dusty Baker and LaRussa up there as one.
Dusty and LaRussa, Kapler versus Nevin, which has been talked about all year, and Lorenzen against Jared. But anyway.
And Whit versus Altuve.
No, Whit's not.
No.
Whit's going to have 80
Hey,
posters there.
listen. He's not my weight class. I'm a sneaky 6 foot. All right, I'm 6 foot, 190 pounds, 195.
I was going by height too.
Whit,
I'm a sneaky 6 foot now.
Oh, shoot.
Whit, you are sneaky tall. You are sneaky
Thank you,
tall.
Greg. You play
It's
with
because
me. People don't believe it, but I'm sneaky. We'll get a measuring tape. I'm a sneaky
if you
6 foot.
look at those custom big league pants in the back, they got the numbers. Whit's got a high butt, so he's got he's got long legs. Whit's like he's a poor man's Jose Reyes.
All right.
This went exactly as I thought it would for a Friday from where we are. Hey, Whit, great catching up with you, dude. Excited for the tournament. We'll blast it out, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks.
All right, fellas. Be good.
You too.
Do it, kid.
Whit Merrifield from the Toronto Blue Jays as the Jays are taking on the Mets. Big weekend series for those 2 squads. We'll have Ross Stripling joining us in just a moment too. So that tournament's going to get a lot of juice.
It's going to be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome.
I can't believe something like that hasn't existed. It really hasn't, though, right?
Dude,
No.
competitiveness. Like you talk about these guys and you see their ridiculous skills. Competitiveness is what I think. I said it last time when he was on. They used to do the athletes and stars or whatever it was. It'd be like Herschel Walker versus Jerry Rice in a sprint, and then it was like George Brett. And,
That was cool.
And like Larry Bird in some other sport where like height and baseball or basketball talent. This is perfect. Nobody's gonna get hurt. You know, sneaky can smash a. I mean, I think there's a lot of guys in baseball that can smash a golf ball. Craig Kimbrell gets out on the golf course. I hope he's one of the guys that has the invite.
We didn't ask if he has an invite.
He has the layups.
Well, you got to
Those are like the three best in the game.
I
all
don't.
three of them owe me dinner now, so they're invited. So that's why I did it.
No.
Here's my thing.
Oops.
Okay.
I have a lot of ideas for the tournament already. Like I actually think there should be a current player field and a former player field. Former players have more time, right? I think it'd be cool to just have the current guys going at it, and you can have the former guys doing their thing. Because I think also, what he said, 48? It's like 800 big league players. You're going to get 48 dudes that want to play. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Totally. I think that list is going to fill up in 5 seconds. So he's not even going to – he's got the list of current, which is a few hundred dudes probably, and then the former. I'm like, and maybe year one's a lot, but go former like the senior tour.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many cool ideas for it. I mean, who says no? I mean, 6,500. That's going to be a little tough for the big fella to be putting out there. If you're a guy,
It's a trip though. There you get a whole deal. You bring the fam. It's
6,500 to go to Orlando.
It's not a heavy lift for most of these guys. We know that.
No doubt. I'm talking about some there's got to be a AAA guy.
Sure.
I played with a guy named Tuffy Gosewich.
Tuffy
played for the Phillies, and then he played for the D-backs. He could golf. Now that man could. He could golf, and so he was mostly in the minor league. He was in the minor leagues a long time, and then he got like 3 years in the big leagues.
Diamondbacks?
Yeah, Diamondbacks, and I think just the Diamondbacks. But anyway, great golfer. So I hope Whit kind of taps into some of the minor league guys too, because there's some dudes down there that are hustling people on the course.
He's not going to do it.
No. Minor league's got to
I'm
have their own
future.
their own weight class, and that could be the lower buy-in and all that. Let's bring in our next guest. Let's see if he's in. We're just going to auto-invite him.
Yep.
Me played with Whit last
We'll
year.
get him.
Ross Stripling
He's
joins
cruising.
us
He's
right
cruising.
now. Ross, how you doing? Did you pull over? We always have to tell everyone, be safe. Don't go on FT Live and draft.
Yeah, I pulled the classic parents with 2 kids move where we went to breakfast thinking we had more time, knowing I had this on the schedule, and we ran out of time. So they're in a toy store next door, and I'm doing this in the parking lot.
I've been there.
This was a setup. The
Been
kids
there.
are like, yo, stall. Because he's going to have to do FT Live in the car. We're going to get 9 new toys while he's doing
Mom
this.
is definitely going to buy us something. Well, the one baby doesn't care. Doesn't need any toys.
Yeah, they're loading up in there. We promised them the biggest dump truck they got, so we'll see. He's in like big, you guys might know. He's in like he loves excavators and dump trucks and bulldozers. Like that's just he's just over 2 for anybody that doesn't know at home. So he's just all about it. Sports are okay, but any kind of big truck or any massive construction vehicle, then he just loves it.
Can he say it? Can he say it correctly? Because my son couldn't say excavator, which I still feel like I can barely say excavator, but he would say excavator.
Yeah, he can say like the first and last syllable, right? It's like excavator, and something like that. He loves cement truck, and he loves trash truck. Just loves trash trucks. So we every Thursday morning we got someone that comes and picks up our trash and someone that comes and picks up our recycle, and we just stand out there and watch him. He just like waves.
Loves it.
It's the funniest thing.
I wanted to be a trash truck driver, but not actual trash truck driver, because in my town where I grew up, you should just put the trash out by the road. It wasn't like the one where they like pick the trash can up and throw it in. And there was always a dude on the back of the trash truck. And he would, as it was like slowing down, he'd hop off, run, grab it, throw it in, hop back on. I thought that was the coolest job ever. That's what I wanted to be, a trash truck rider.
Especially in the 30-degree weather. That's tough.
It didn't matter to me. Didn't matter. Shorts.
Hey, how's the back feeling, man? I know you recently had a little back problem. How you feeling right now?
Yeah, appreciate you asking, man. Feeling good. Supposed to throw off the mound today. And then usually if that goes well, everything, ramps up pretty quick. So hopefully today goes well, and then we're, facing hitters a couple of days from now and back in there before we know it. So, it's just one of those things where it's kind of locked up on me worse than I thought it did. I thought it was going to be like a few days, and here we are 2 weeks later still battling it. If you guys have had back problems, that's the way it can go. But, should be at the tail end here and facing hitters in the next few days, I hope.
You feel like maybe when you're having a down year and then an injury happens, how much does that affect your like off the field? Like, do you feel like I always felt like when I wasn't doing well, I felt like I wasn't as good of a husband or as good of a father. Like I felt like I was like not just letting my teammates down, but also like I was kind of on edge. Do you get into that at all? Like this year or any other times that you've struggled?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, when you're struggling, you're not a fun person to be around. I mean, that's just a fact. And I like to think that I'm one of the better ones of leaving it at the field. What's nice is I live in the East Bay, so I got like a 30-minute drive to flush it before I'm home, and my 2-year-old doesn't give a damn what I did on the field, and my wife doesn't really either. I'm on bottles and diapers. It doesn't matter if I put up zeros or gave up 8. But yeah, you like you said, you're just kind of on edge, and then you throw an injury into it. So I was already, kind of having the mental feelings of like, this is a new team. They came and got me free agency, expecting me to come help them get over the hump and make the playoffs when they didn't quite make it last year. And I'm rocking a 7 2 months into the season. Oh, and now I'm hurt, so that kind of stuff weighs on you for sure. So kind of trying to stay positive, saying like, look, I was struggling. I'm going to take this as a mental blow and a physical blow to get right. And I got time because I'm on the IL to get my shit together and get my stuff zoned in. So when I'm, I got a bullpen today and some others moving forward where, I can work on some stuff. And that way, when I'm back healthy and facing hitters, I'm in a better spot than where I was before and hopefully can get guys out at a better clip than I was. So trying to stay positive right now. Now, if I come back and I suck right off the bat, I might be on the edge again. So we'll see when we get there.
Does your wife call you out? Or do you have somebody else that calls you out when you're like, dude, you're kind of being a drama queen, or like, hey, look, like, suck it up, like I'm grinding away at the house? Do you have somebody like that, or does your wife call you out?
No, my wife's awesome. She really is. I mean, as you guys know, your wife has to be so supportive, and then you mix in 2 kids. I mean, they're just the ultimate grinders. Where she will take no crap is like the 4 a.m. feeding, where it's like, no, you're on the IL. You don't have anything going on tomorrow besides some ultrasounds and massages. You can do this feeding. So she'll call me out on that one. But she understands the grind. I mean, we're in our 8th year in the big leagues together. She was even with me in the minor leagues. So she understands the physical and mental toll it takes. So she's extremely understanding. But there's definitely times where she's like, no, you're on this one, Ross. Go get after it. That's good. Calling you out isn't a bad thing. Like when you get called out, like you're like, oh yeah, you're right. I appreciate you. Like that's. Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Or even like, your teammates will do it too, where it's like you're just kind of, I don't know, maybe sitting in your locker, not in a good mood today because everyone else is going out and getting ready to play a game. And I'm just kind of like in my feels like, man, I want to be out there, or I still got an hour of rehab left before, I even get to do anything or whatever. And they're like, yo, Strip, let's go to the dugout and watch, or whatever, so everyone picks you up in different ways. It's good to have teammates, family members, wives, everyone that can keep you on your toes and make sure you're keeping your attitude up even when it's tough.
Hey, Strip, why is nobody talking about the San Francisco Giants after the month of May that they just put together?
Man, good question. We got off to a rough start, so I think people are still trying to figure out which team we are, us included. We know we're good, but we want to get healthy. Like, we haven't sent our whole lineup out there once this year. Conforto was hurt for a minute. Haniger started on the IL. Now they're both back and hot. We lost Yaz for a while from a hamstring. Now he's back, but we still don't have Jock, and now Tyro's on the IL. So, like, we're rocking this lineup that's just ever changing because of injuries. And then I think we had the worst bullpen ERA, our 3rd worst bullpen ERA in April, and the best in May. So we're just we're a little bit up and down right now as a full squad. But I think we're starting to show how talented and how good and how well this roster is put together. We hit lefties and righties. Our bullpen isn't necessarily full of flamethrowers outside of Doval there in the 9th, but they're just guys that, we got Tyler Rogers that throws it from the floor. And we got Luke Jackson back yesterday who punches out too. So we're trending in the right direction. I think people will start talking about us, but it's kind of nice to lay in the weeds. They can keep talking about the Padres and the Dodgers and even the Diamondbacks are sitting atop the division right now, and we're just kind of lying right there doing our thing, and I think we'll be there in the end as well.
I always ask this for position players, like who's the guy you'd want to hit a home run off of on your team? Who do you want to punch out so badly on your team, or have you punched out somebody that's on your team, and do you rub it in their face?
So the answer would be Jock. Jock was my AA roommate in Chattanooga, Tennessee back in 2013. I've faced him in live VPs. I've come up him through the minor leagues and faced him like in the COVID spring trainings. We're only inter-squadding ourselves, and he rakes me. He just absolutely rakes me, which is not abnormal. He rakes any righties, especially righties that only throw 92 like me. So I'm just like the ultimate worst matchup for him. So one day, and I haven't faced him in the big leagues because I was a Blue Jay when he was a Brave and a Giant. We didn't face him. So, and obviously he's on my team now. So one day I'll face him, maybe soon, because he's on the IL, I'm on the IL. We might have a live BP matchup. My guess is there'll be like 4 homers, but I might get one punch out in there, and he's definitely going to hear about it.
Love that.
Amazing. If he does hit a home run off you, like, what do you think he does?
I mean, he's Jock. He's full energy. I think he'd pimp it. He doesn't care that we've been friends for 10 years. I think he'd probably bat flip and run halfway to first base and then peel off and get back in the batter's box and try and do it again.
Hey, I also want to talk about how you donate money to the Giants Community Fund annually, man. I think that's very gracious of you, and how you give back always to not only community but to other charitable events and stuff like that, foundations.
Yeah, so that was a no-brainer. You know, the Giants come to you and say, you know, we like our guys to donate to our charity when we sign them to free agent deals. And, you know, all of these teams have awesome foundations where they do awesome stuff in the community as far as, you know, helping underprivileged kids or underprivileged communities within the city, or building baseball fields, all that kind of stuff. So when they, you know, come to me and say, you know, we'd love for you to give back to us, it's a no-brainer to say yes. And to just say, you guys do what you continue to do. I'd love to be involved anywhere I can. If y'all build a stadium, I'd love to be there to cut the ribbon when we open it, or whatever it is you guys do. Keep me in mind. You know, the San Francisco is a giant city where there's a lot of people in need coming out of COVID. I think it's been one of the cities hit the hardest. You drive around here, you know, you see homeless, you see guys and families that are really struggling. So if I can, you know, contribute some of what I've been very privileged to have to those people, it's just an absolute no-brainer. So, yeah, appreciate you bringing that up, because I've never been able to give back in a way like that. I've made money in my career, but this is the most I've made. So to, you know, start being able to give back to a community that I'm new to and try and find some people that I can really help around here for the next 2 years while I'm here is, you know, something that me and my wife and my family definitely want to get involved in.
Have you always been able to give back, but just not at the monetary amount that you do now with your new contract?
Yeah, so I'm a big reader. I love to read. So in LA, I was basically the face of their quote unquote LA Reads campaign. So maybe twice a month, I would go to elementary schools all around the city of LA and just read to kids, which it used to make me so nervous because I didn't have kids at the time. And I was like, man, I'm going to sound so stupid. These books are so corny. Like, how do I make them fun? I mean, there'd be hundreds of kids waiting for me to read these books. And, you know, and I would get so nervous. But I enjoyed being like kind of the guy that was known for going around the community and reading to kids. And then now with 2 kids, it's so easy. Like, I can just get in there and I can invent a story or a book off the top of my head and entertain those kids for an hour. But yeah, that's kind of what I've done more in the past is lean towards kids and trying to get into some schools and, I don't know, playing some dodgeball and reading some books and stuff like that. Anxious to see what the Giants use me for. I told them that's probably what my niche is as far as what I think I'm best at, but I'm here to help any way they need me.
Now today's Lou Gehrig Day, and what is have you had any interaction with people that have dealt with ALS, or have you been able to do any kind of like fundraising of any kind? And what does a day like this mean to you that MLB is really celebrating it and bringing it to awareness and hopefully eventually getting to the point where we can get a cure for ALS?
Right. I mean, you know, Lou Gehrig, obviously the face of that awful disease, you know, a man that battled that in you know, the face of adversity where basically the whole world was watching. But think about like what he's brought. I'm sorry if I'm cutting in and out. Can you guys hear and see me?
Yeah, you're good. Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm super blurry on my end. So, you know, I think it's awesome what baseball is doing for the disease. The only thing that I've ever done for it is the Ice Bucket Challenge back in the day. I would love to bring awareness to it more if I can. I tell you where it hits me the hardest was Rich Hill had a son pass away from a rare disease that has no cure, who only got to live a few months of life before that son eventually passed away. And now with 2 kids, I can't imagine something like that. So for anyone that can bring awareness to rare diseases or diseases that don't have cures, so that families don't have to go through such rough times or suffer in any way. Gosh, I wish we could bring as much attention and money to it as possible to try and help those families. So, a big day around baseball, obviously, for what Lou Gehrig went through, but just, think of what he's brought as far as awareness over the time since he suffered from that disease. I think it's pretty amazing.
Well said, for sure. I know you got some things to do. I know you got the kids there, but we can't leave without you talking about the money, man. We got to talk about the market right now. What I need to put my money into, how we're looking. I haven't talked to you in a while.
Tell you.
I know, but he can maybe give me an inkling on
like
something.
a theme in terms of what's going on with the economy.
What's going on with the economy?
Yeah.
And I can read you from what I hear.
We're here at the casino, so he's lost some money. So
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
My mind's going everywhere.
Yeah, now I think about this when I know I'm coming on this show. I'm like, all right, I got to have an answer that's ambiguous, but for phrase that keeps them interested. You know what, man? It's similar to in 2020 when the pandemic happened and all that tech stuff flew. If it wasn't a cloud company or software as a service, it doubled, right? Everything in the pandemic doubled. If you just said, oh, I'm in the cloud or I'm a software as a service. Now, artificial intelligence. If your company says I'm doing artificial intelligence in any way, it's flying. And honestly, it's almost bringing us single-handedly into a bull market itself, all this AI talk. So, when you think about AI, what do you need to be able to do it? Well, you need fast computing. You need really strong computers. Well, what do you need to fund or to make your computer move faster? You need chips and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're seeing fly right now. So, Frage, if that's what you're looking for, we might be a little late to the party, but I think it's here to stay in the short term. It might be a bubble, but I think it's still flying in the short term here.
I love it. Sounds, I'm just hearing what you're saying, and I'm not saying anything anymore.
It's going to replace you eventually, though, just so you know.
It's going to replace you
eventually.
First.
No, it's definitely going to replace me. Forget me. I'm out of here. I'm looking for it.
I still think the pass line on a craps table might have better odds, though, if you're looking to double your money in a hurry.
Hey.
He's
I'm out
going
of here.
right now.
I'll see you later. I'm going.
See you.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Ross, great catching up with you, man. Enjoy the fam time. We'll talk to you in a few weeks.
Yeah, thanks, guys, as always. See y'all soon.
Yes, see you soon. Cheers, man.
Heal up.
Ross Stripling of the San Francisco Giants. And I will say, that's one team we haven't talked enough about yet. Let's see how they do the next week or so and keep giving them love. The Diamondbacks actually kind of stealing the show right now in the NL West. Obviously, the Dodgers are doing their thing. But
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
You're good.
For the most part, in all these divisions, it's pretty darn close from like 8 or 9 games or less with a lot of time left. And, we're not talking about every team, but still, like, it's anyone's division in a lot of these divisions, and it's exciting.
A's, Royals fans, it's over.
All right, there you go. I didn't say all.
Wait, are you serious, Scott?
Sorry. Breaking news. It's over.
You just bought that ticket, didn't you, over there at Bet MGM
Plus
right there?
billion.
It was plus 50,000.
Put 10 to win.
$100. I wanted to make some money.
It probably is at that level.
Money.
I'll check the futures in a little bit. By the way, we are, of course, in AC at their best live entertainment place on stage next year and this year, I should say, year-round at Borgata. Visit Borgata.com for the full entertainment lineup, the best live entertainment year-round right here at Borgata. All right, time to preview some games. And I had a really difficult time. This was, since we started this segment, probably the toughest time for me to pick just one game. So let's do a little last-minute game time.
Yeah.
Okay. We're looking at the slate thanks to our friends from Game Time, best ticketing app on the planet. Go get it. Hit FT Live in the promo code section to get $20 off your first purchase of tickets. They have the best prices. We'll go over it in a sec. But if you have a last-minute ticket, where are you going tonight? Because usually I highlight 2 or 3 games. I've got bolded like 6 or 7 games.
If
you see the pitcher matchups tonight?
If AJ was here, he would just talk about all 6 of those.
He'd go one by
and
one.
I'd be like, well, I'm gonna go to the A's.
You're gonna go to
Marlins
the
game.
AAA game. Right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Lehigh Valley. I'm gonna go to Lakewood. No, there's so many. There's so many good. Like, there's intriguing parts of it. I mean, I guess I'll just jump in. I'll
Give me
start.
one. You got to pick one.
I have to. I'm so good
Last
at picking
minute
one.
tickets.
AJ
You got
picks
a
2 or
flash
3.
deal. I know, but
One.
AJ cheats.
He's a
You got a
cheat.
flash deal.
Easy.
Where do you want it?
You got a
Where are you
PJ
going?
waiting for you.
Easy.
Like, to
peasy.
me, when I was, I'm starting to think like ballpark location because there's so many good
There's-
matchups. I gotta specify like where do I want to hang out tonight?
There's only one good one. I'm going to Fenway Park.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see Tyler Glasnow pitch in the big leagues, and you never know when he's not going to be pitching. You know he's pitching tonight, whether it's only 3 innings. I haven't seen how many he's going, but it's electric. It's electric, and at Fenway Park, there's not a bad seat, and you feel the energy from pitch 1. And if this dude's out here throwing, we're good.
Whitlock is filthy too, though.
Yeah, but
He is.
second place in this game. I want to see Tyler the Glasnow.
Interesting. That's not what I was thinking. I'm getting on the PJ right down the street here, and I'm going out to LA. I'm seeing Severino versus Kershaw tonight, man. This is the battle of maybe World Series opponents, and I am excited to see what can happen. The Yankees are riding high right now, winning 2 out of 3 against Seattle, and the Dodgers are doing what the Dodgers do. So I can't wait to see that. I want to see the Kershaw of old like he's been, and I want to see Severino keep rocking like he's been since he's been back from the IL. And now I got to go because I better get there soon.
It's leaving, and what did Ross say? Something on a craps table?
No, AI, it teleports you there. So you
Oh,
can leave
okay.
like
Hold on.
5 minutes before.
Yeah.
Forget the LA traffic. Okay?
He's fine.
Not with
I'm
this
going
game.
to LA, baby.
Yeah. By the way, Glasnow, so this is his second start, right? And his first one he went 4 1/3, so you might
I
get
didn't know that.
You might get 5.
I think Whitlock wins that game. I'm giving Whitlock the W that game.
Yeah.
I am. I'm going to.
What's that
Going
coming
against
out
my
at?
pick, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
I still had 3 that I was trying to decide between. You guys didn't pick. I got to go Ohtani Valdez.
I feel like I always pick Ohtani. Like I
I
can
know, but
always
it's Framber
go
on
see-
the other side. Framber
my
Valdez
lock.
is a Cy Young candidate, right? That's your
I
lock,
thought you
so
were
we'll
going to
get
go
to that.
Toronto, New York, because Bassett's coming back into
So
town.
my 3, that was one of my others. Bassett against Verlander, both like shove it guys on the mound who can maybe go 7 or 8 too. I don't want to see bullpen shit. And then Seattle and Texas
Bullpen
was my
shit.
other one.
Okay.
Texas is playing inspiring baseball. I love Luis Castillo. These are good pitching matchups.
They're
I'll go
gonna be-
Ohtani Valdez though. I know I got to pick. It can't be an AJ.
You can't be an
Ohtani versus Valdez. So if you don't have the app, also can hit up gametime.co. If you want to buy tickets last minute, this is the spot. It shouldn't be stressful. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, any events nearby with the best deals on the planet. Flash deals is what we were talking about earlier. You can click the little fire emoji and you'll get the best deals and the money back guarantee, of course, 110% of the deal back if you find a better price elsewhere. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. You can get images of the seats before you buy. You can kind of like tilt your phone when you pick on a section and a seat and see where it is. So check out Game Time. We're running through it for you right now. Again, if you find a lower price in the same section, in the same row elsewhere, 110% back because you won't find it. That's what they're saying, okay? Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code FTLive for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem the code FTLive. $20 off first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price. Guaranteed. That's the view I'm talking about. Like, I think.
Pretty cool.
What ballpark is that? Dodger Stadium?
New York?
No, it looks like LA. Looks like Dodger Stadium.
I don't have my glasses. What does it look like?
Chavez Ravine.
Chavez Ravine.
Sure is.
There it is. FT Live. Thanks, Game Time. And coming up next, our last guest of the day on a Friday. And I think he's going to get a good laugh out of the note that I received before the show started. Our insider, Ken Rosenthal, joining us right now on FT Live. So, Ken, I got to know right before the show started, AJ goes, he obviously he's off, but he's still looking in our chat. And he goes, why does Ken keep going on when I'm not on? What did I say?
Smart man.
He's a sensitive man, AJ.
Yes, he
He's got a lot of
is.
sensitivity. He's got a lot of feelings.
He
I
does.
told him I'm not making the schedule. He thinks I'm avoiding him. Scott, just make sure next week that we're on together.
Okay, I'm gonna also
Be
kind of
careful
play
what
it
you
up.
wish for.
I played it up a little. I was like, AJ, he's sick of you making fun of him all the time. So he's just kind of sidestepping you. So maybe next time he comes on, he's gonna be like super nice. Like, hey Ken, I loved the bow tie this weekend. I watched the whole game. Doubtful. But hey, I want to start with Kirk Herbstreit making a big appearance on FT Live yesterday, talking Reds. We loved it. It was a great conversation. He's watching the games. He was super engaged. He was excited. We probably had a 25-minute interview, and I'd say 20 minutes of it was talking Reds, Ellie De La Cruz, his thoughts on Jonathan India. And he had a little beef before, and that's partially why he came on, reading your and C. Trent Rosecrans' story. And then there was more beef afterwards where he and C. Trent are going after it again, and Reds fans are going after him. Are you watching Ellie De La Cruz? So absorbing all of that, what are your thoughts since then as you deal with Twitter, baseball Twitter all the time?
I actually just wrote something about this and posted it in our free daily newsletter at The Athletic. And it's the difference, guys, between a fan and a reporter. And I understand that Kirk is a fan. I respect that. I respect all fans and their opinions. That's part of the beauty of the game. But what we do for a living, and Todd knows this, and Erik knows this, and AJ knows this, and every player that I've ever covered comes to understand this, is different than what a fan does. We're not rooting for a team. We are covering the team. We are reporting about the team. And the thing that surprised me about this particular issue, and it wasn't just Kirk, by the way, a lot of Reds fans said, "Why are you writing about this?" And it stunned me to hear that reaction because it's like the number one issue with the Reds right now. It's what their front office is talking about. It's what their manager and coaching staff is talking about. It's a talk in the clubhouse. If that kind of conversation is going on multiple places, it's our job to report about that. That's what we do. And the other misconception, and Kirk had this misconception and others did too, was that somehow this article was dogging Jonathan India. If you read the sucker, there was a lot in there, probably half of it was about Jonathan India's value to the team, and that is why this is an issue in the first place. If Jonathan India wasn't a good player, wasn't a leader on this team, you figure it out, you just move him somewhere. But no, he is that guy, and that's why this particular issue was so interesting to both myself and to Trent, and that's why we wrote about it. We try to write about interesting subjects. It's pretty simple. And the only thing I'll say about Kirk is that it surprised me that as someone who's worked in media now for quite some time, he didn't quite grasp that whole thing. He just wants us to wave pom-poms for the team, and I don't think that's happening.
Why do you think? Do you think it's just the Reds? Like you said you were shocked that the Reds fans were kind of like, well, why are you writing about this? Is it because nobody's ever really written about the Reds because they've had nothing to write about the Reds, or why do you think it is?
I don't quite know, Erik, to be perfectly honest. And maybe it's that team has not been looked at in this way for quite some time now. This is a good problem to have. That was the lead of the story. They've got a problem, but it's a good problem. And I don't want to bash fans, but a lot of fans, like Kirk, don't necessarily understand what it is that we do. And that's fine. They're fans. They can think whatever they want. But reporters are supposed to look for interesting stories. This is a really interesting story. And by the way, we did not pick it out of thin air here. Ellie De La Cruz is coming. He's coming really soon. And when he comes, they're going to have to face these different questions with their roster and figure out the alignment and who's going to play where and how it's all going to work. That's interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's not just fans. Remember when we started this show, AJ thought that every reporter, Orioles reporter, Britt was a Orioles fan, and C. Trent's a Reds fan. That's like AJ and Scott, like he throws up in his mouth every time we say it.
So does Ken.
But with the Reds, I asked C. Trent this the other day when he was on. How soon do you think the Reds are a true playoff contending team?
Well, it helps the division that they're in, for sure. And the Central in both leagues is not very strong. So it gives a team like the Reds more hope than they might have in another division. I like where they are. They are quite interesting. I don't know that they're a contender this year, but given the strength of the division, maybe. But it's interesting to see McClain come up and play like he has. They have the three starters. Lodolo is hurt right now. Hunter Green is pitching well. And Ashcraft kind of has to get it back going again. They've got those three. Luke Weaver's pitching well. They have some interesting pieces, and they've got a decent offense, even though there is very little power there. And that is why Dela Cruz will help so much, assuming his power translates from AAA to the majors. So I do think they're relatively close, but the question with a team like this, and it's sort of the question I've asked with the Orioles too, okay, you get your young talent to a certain level, and that's great. You're doing your jobs correctly in player development and drafting and all of that. At some point, though, you have to supplement that. You have to put veterans around those players. You've got to build more of a balanced team in that regard. Will the Reds do that? Will they spend money again? Probably the evidence in recent years suggests no. So that is my one reserve judgment aspect of talking about them. They're going to be fine with what they have, the young talent, and there's more young talent beyond Dela Cruz. There are players that they got in the Castillo trade, two shortstops that are really good. They're all not going to play shortstop, obviously, and some might be traded. But their system is in a good place. Again, at some point, though, you've got to get quality veterans around them. And they have some now. I don't know that those guys are the caliber that you want when you're going to contend. But that's the test that they're going to face.
Yeah, now talking about you want people contending, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the trade market, how everybody thinks they're going to get one of the better starting pitchers out there, and there's really not that many out there. I mean, you can name a couple on one hand, but for you, what do you think about that dynamic and how everybody thinks there's going to be a dominant starter out there to pick up come trade deadline?
Well, Todd, first of all, you got to remove Ohtani from this conversation. One, I don't think he's going to be out there. And two, if he is out there, he is in a separate category, a category all his own. When it comes to the rest, we always know that starting pitching is in demand at the deadline. But this year we're seeing a ton of injuries, and that's going to affect things for sure. We're also seeing tight races in both central divisions, not because the divisions are so strong, but because they're so weak. So teams that you would think would sell, certainly, are not necessarily going to jump to sell when they might still have a chance in that division. And I'm thinking specifically of the White Sox. About, a month ago, I wrote, and some other people wrote too, this team's an obvious seller. There's Lynn, there's Giolito, there's possibly Cease if they want to give up that control. There are a lot of pieces there. Tim Anderson would be another piece separate from those guys. And yes, that's all true. But the White Sox have played a little bit better. Not great. And it's not like they're knocking down the door of division title here. But if you're Jerry Reinsdorf and you're old, I don't know that you're going to want to give up on the season so easily. And then there's Milwaukee. At the start of the year, and even up until now, people think, man, yeah, they're good. They're always good. But Corbin Burns, it's been a real issue for them. They've had fights with him in arbitration. He's going to go. I don't know that he's going to go because last year, you guys remember what happened once they traded Josh Hader and the disruption that caused in their clubhouse. And here they are in first place again. They've got other starting pitchers who are injured. I don't see them necessarily trading Corbin Burns unless things change. So you have all of these situations developing. Then you have a team like the Dodgers that needs starting pitching. A team like the Mets that probably will need starting pitching. All of these contenders. And I just don't believe that the supply is going to be there. That could cause some teams to get opportunistic. And of course, over the next 2 months, things could change a lot too. So I want to qualify everything I'm saying with that understanding that things do change, everything changes. But I don't expect the injuries to change. I expect pitchers to keep getting hurt. And I don't say that happily, of course, but that is going to affect things pretty significantly.
What about Stroman? You wrote about him the other day. He wants to stay in Chicago. The problem is he's pitching so damn well. And the Cubs, in my mind, I know they're not far out, but probably not a playoff team. It's going to be hard for them to look around and say we might have the best or one of the best trade assets at the deadline, and we can have a massive haul because everyone wants starting pitching, playing to your point here.
Yes, and I just talked about Burns, so I don't expect him to be available. I don't expect Ohtani to be available. Eduardo Rodriguez, who was thought to be a guy for the trade market, is now injured. So here's Stroman, top 10 ERA in the game, pitching extremely well, pitching for a team that has been disappointing. Obviously, with an opt-out at the end of this year, he is going to be someone that the Cubs are going to have to listen to unless things turn around. And even if they do, they might have to take advantage of the market. And maybe you get a young starter in return. For a rental, probably not, but you never know, given the demand that is going to be out there. So Stroman told me that, yes, he wants to stay. He loves Chicago, but he's a veteran. He's been traded before at the deadline, if you remember, from Toronto to the Mets. And he is open-minded. He understands that if it's not going to be Chicago, it'll be somewhere else. Then he'll hit the open market, assuming he stays healthy and everything's good. And that will be that. Now, it's interesting about a pitcher like this who has the opt-out clause, because when you acquire him and you give up whatever you give up for him, the risk is he does get hurt in August or September, and then he doesn't opt out, and you've got the contract coming. Now, maybe if it's a minor injury, not that big a deal, no big deal. But if, let's say, he blows out significantly, and I'm not saying that this will happen, I'm just giving you the hypothetical, then you're stuck with the contract. So there is a lot in play, a lot of variables with Stroman, but at the same time, Scott, I'm with you. If they don't improve significantly over the next 2 months, he's gone.
The intriguing name to me is Shane Bieber. Who gets a bigger haul? The Guardians for Bieber or Stroh from the Cubs? And who do you think has a better chance of going?
Bieber would bring a bigger haul, additional control. And the Guardians are really interesting because they're a team that could look to be opportunistic in the way that I mentioned before. They've got Bieber, of course, but they also have McKenzie and Savali coming back off the injured list. They've got young pitchers like Bibby who have come on and performed really well so far. So you could argue that even if they trade Bieber, they'd have enough depth. Quantrill's still there. They can piece it together. Logan Allen has looked really good. At the same time, when you trade starting pitching, you're trading off of your depth and you're risking injury to others and then that depth just going away. So the Guardians are playing a little bit better maybe in the last week. They haven't hit, obviously. So, yes, I think Bieber could be a guy, but it's tough. Eric, I'm curious what you think. You're on a team. You're within a couple of games of first place, as the Guardians are, and then you trade your ace. That might be tough for the clubhouse.
100%. You saw it in Milwaukee last year with Hader, and it was 100% a dump. I'm not saying they did they got rid of Lamet, I think, the next day. Or whenever he came off the layout.
I mean, they got a good haul back.
They got a good haul.
Because it turned into William
But
Contreras.
it was a money dump. It turned into William Contreras afterwards. And you spend the whole season pushing to win. And no matter what you think, even the A's players, in a season where they don't win, the players are pushing to win. And when front office trades away your back-end guy with Hader, or the Guardians, if you trade Bieber, which I get it, they're going to get a lot for it, and most likely they're not going to keep a $200 million pitcher. You're like, wait a minute, you feel like you're kind of alone out there on your own island as a player, and I think it's a bad look. But as an organization, the players in 6 years, every single one of these players is going to be off the Guardians roster, and you're going to have what you have. So you got to make those decisions. I understand that.
You're also asking guys to step into roles that they're not familiar with. Now, Bieber is not necessarily a top 10 in the game pitcher, a pure ace, but he is their number one, and he is a guy that I'm sure the young pitchers look to. I know that they look to because of what he has done in the game and who he is and his cerebral nature. You take that away, then you're asking everyone to step up a notch, right? It's not so easy. And for a team that is trying to contend, it becomes that much more difficult. So, yes, I can see it. I can see the logic of it. But if the Guardians are in contention, it just becomes, as Eric said, much more difficult to do.
That's why you said, oh, is he an ace?
Well, yeah, we had the discussion.
Well, he was definitely an ace for me. I don't know if he's an ace
No.
or one. Not anymore. I
He's a
mean,
one. Even when he won the Cy Young, he needed to put a couple more similar, maybe not Cy Young, but similar years together.
and my thing, Vila's not the same as it used to be. Personal numbers this year, I'd rather actually have Stroman right now. So, Ken, let me ask you about the game you're about to cover this weekend, Yanks and Dodgers. What are you laughing?
I made a face.
He made a face.
I would
about
take
what he
Bieber
said.
over Stroman.
Okay, we'll get into that
Anyway.
later. Yanks and Dodgers. Give me a state of each side. I know for Yanks fans, they want to know about Big G coming back, Giancarlo Stanton, Donaldson, who many Yankee fans like to pile on right now because he hasn't worked out as a bat and obviously hasn't played this year. And then for the Dodgers, I would say for the most part, exceeding expectations because of the hit they've taken to their starting staff. Would you agree?
I would agree, Scott. But first, the Yankees. I went back and read something I wrote this morning at the start of May. And at the time, they had a ton of injuries, just a number of guys. I believe the number was the highest in the majors, 13, 14, whatever it was. And I wrote critically about this, saying, hey, what did you expect? It's an older club. It's a club with guys who get hurt a lot, and this is what's going to happen. Well, what happens? They go 19-10 in May, most wins in the majors. Judge goes crazy, even though he starts the month on the IL. And they look like they're going to be okay right now. And yes, Stanton and Donaldson coming back, that lengthens their lineup. Canely gives them another option in their bullpen, which has been lights out. So I'm impressed by what they've done, really impressed. And they lost Bader again, and that's not great. They've had these journeyman outfielders, Willie Calhoun, Greg Allen kind of filling in. Jake Bowers is another one. But they're in a good place right now, and they're in a better place than certainly a month ago I imagined or expected that they would be. Long season, they still got to stay healthy, but that lineup is different when Stanton is in it. There's no question about that. And if they can get Donaldson going, all the better. If they can't, they've got options for third base. And Todd knows this. They've got Kiner-Falefa, who's been really good as a super utility guy. They've got Oswald Peraza back in the minors hitting again. Oswaldo Cabrera, who just went back down. They could do a number of different things. And DJ LeMahieu now will get more opportunity to rest. So I like where they are. The Dodgers, they are in a difficult spot right now because of the injuries in their rotation. Not just Walker Buehler. Remember, he was on this team a year ago. Urias and Dustin May and all of the things that have happened with their rotation. Now, tonight, as you guys mentioned, they've got Kershaw going, and he's been slumping a little bit of late. Tomorrow, it's Michael Grove. And he's stepping in because Gavin Stone, another young pitcher, has not really performed. So they're going to be an interesting team to watch to see which needs develop for them. It could be starting pitching if they don't get to the point of health where they want to be. Or it could be shortstop. It could be another position player. It could be a bullpen. So the Dodgers, they're in a great spot. And keep in mind, they cut payroll this year. They seemingly were preparing for the Ohtani free agency rather than going all out in free agency this past offseason. And yet here they are again, still the Dodgers, still the team to beat in the West.
What is the more likely scenario? The Diamondbacks beat out the Dodgers, or the Dodgers lose out to the Diamondbacks?
It would probably take a little of both, right? It would take the Dodgers coming back to the pack a little bit, and it would take the Diamondbacks sustaining what they've done. Now, I really like what the Diamondbacks have done. You've got the two guys at the top, Gallen and Kelly, and they have some interesting young pitchers. They've got to sort through them just like the Dodgers do. And it might be a little too soon for some of them. Zach Davies is back now. That helps. I love their offense. It's varied. It can do a number of different things. We see them run, obviously. But to beat the Dodgers, you've got to really climb a mountain. And the Padres learned that last year. They did it in the postseason, not in the regular season. And for an experienced team like the Dodgers to face an inexperienced team like the Diamondbacks as a challenger, and don't forget the Padres either. They're going to factor into this thing too. You still have to go with the Dodgers. And maybe the Diamondbacks grab it, but for them to grab it, the Dodgers are going to have to go backwards a little bit too.
Again, we appreciate the time. Great catching up. We will see you next week. I know at least before Friday because it'll have to be an AJ day.
It sounds good to me. I'm not afraid of AJ. Bring it on.
We'll make it happen. Okay? We'll set it up. The heavyweight battle begins again next week. Ken, enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Ken Rosenthal with us on FT Live. We are at Borgata and specifically at Bet MGM Sportsbook and Bar, and that is where sports fans can watch the games, and you can visit theborgata.com for details. This place will be bumping later. Our picks are coming up soon, too. I'm going to try and watch the game I picked live, or at least part of it, here a little bit later on tonight. One thing before we get to picks is I wanted to sneak this in because it was technically 2 nights ago, but then there was a big follow-up on social yesterday, and we love the petty stuff. So Francisco Lindor made a play the other day. It was a nothing play in terms of competitiveness. He could have rolled the ball over and it would have been fine. I want to show the play first because he made the play, and the Phillies broadcaster, Ben Davis, who I know, I've called some games with him in the past. Oh, here it is. We're showing it right now. So for the podcast crowd, it went to Lindor. And what would you call that throw, Kratzia?
Just a 2-hopper.
A 2-hopper, whatever, right?
A lob.
A lob, save the arm, who cares? Makes the play. And do we want to show what Ben Davis said about it?
Afterwards, I don't know if we have the quote or not. I mean, it was just a 2-hopper. This guy was stealing. There was no play. Even Guthrie, who was stealing, he just turned and basically went to third. Like he went home. He went to the. So here's the quote. NBC Sports Philadelphia broadcaster. This is from Awful Announcing.
Yeah, but Ben Davis, he said, quote,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan. Be a little bit more professional about it.
Yeah, so what does it look like? Like what is Ben Davis's rules for throwing over after a double play?
I need
Like-
proper form, Todd Father.
Like here's something that I watching games, watching outfielders and infielders play in the big leagues. You never overthrow a guy if you bounce him. So, I have no. It's not like he looked at Guthrie and was like, and then rolled it up. Like there was nothing. It was completely off. I mean, it was very on par for Ben Davis. You know, he's very he wants to be the governor of what's right and what's wrong, the unwritten rules.
Okay.
You know, being with him last year, hanging out with him last year with the Phillies broadcast, I was always just like, oh my gosh, Ben, just relax, bro. He's such a cool dude, incredibly good looking.
Yes.
The chin of Buzz Lightyear.
6'6".
Oh, he is the poster child
Yes.
of exactly who you should take in your number 2 pick overall. But the whole unwritten rules, and Tom McCarthy, T-Mac said he asked Ben, he's like, did you have kind of a problem with that? And Ben was like, yeah, you just got to be a little more professional about it. Well, what does that mean? I'm not sitting here saying you should dance on somebody's face, but what does that mean? Be more professional. So just explain it. If you don't like the way somebody bat flips, explain that. What don't you like about it? And Ben's very opinionated. And so I love that he said it because guys would always give him a hard time. I'm trying to think if it was Krupp that would give him a hard time or Ruben Amaro. John Krupp or Ruben Amaro were also on there. And one of them was always bringing up the fact that hey, Ben, remember back when there was a no-hitter?
It's probably Ruben.
Ruben's
That was
big.
probably
Ruben Tuesday.
Ruben don't forget
Ruben.
nothing.
Ruben.
Kurt Schilling had a no-no, 8th
Yeah.
inning.
No. And who walks up to the plate? Ben
Big Ben.
Davis drops the bunt down
No over.
for a knock. No over.
2-0 game.
Yeah, it was 2-0.
Close, yeah.
Close game.
Yeah. I see. Here's my thing, and then I know Todd's ready to go. So I'll be quick on mine. I have no
I'm
problem
gonna
with
be
any of
quick,
this.
too.
I have no problem with the bunt back then in a close game. Do your thing, field your position.
Agree.
I have no problem with Lindor making a play, just like I have no problem with
Agree.
Wander Franco flipping the ball to himself and then flinging it over to first.
I agree 100%. Him and Tom McCarthy, I know very well. Ben was my locker mate across from me in spring training when we were in the AAA minor league clubhouse. So I've known Ben for a long time. He comes up, gives me a big hug or whatever. But
That's a big hug.
oh man,
big hug.
he reminds me of Superman. It's just,
He is.
He's got this figure to him. It's like you walk by, like you have to look. You're like, who is this monster human being? Just like yourself. But it's just like I said about Kirk. It's frustration because they stink right now. The Phillies aren't doing well, and they're looking for more stuff to say. And I just think it was out of line. It was just I think if you know him, I think he might. I bet, hey Ben, did you really mean what you said? They're unprofessional. I think he would come back and tell you no.
He would probably he wouldn't back down from it because he is definitely like he's firm in what he believes, but he's like, yeah, whatever. He wouldn't be as firm as because you didn't have time. They didn't spend any more time.
And I think McCarthy kind of teed him up on there, like he had to give an answer. Yeah, what'd you think about that? Kind of like, well, he could have easily went and said, I don't have a problem with it, but maybe it was just throw the ball instead of doing it. But they got the out. Who cares? Like
who cares?
Like sometimes people airmail those balls. You know what I'm saying?
Or what if that's the case? What if we don't know? Lindor might have the yips.
Yeah.
On double plays. I know he doesn't. I'm just saying.
But they
there's
said on
still
there.
Too many layers to it.
They said, he should have tagged him. Well, what happens if he goes and tags him and he trips, the ball pops out of his hand? We've seen crazier stuff in baseball.
The Jonathan Lucroy play with Bregman.
Yes.
Swing, miss, goes to pick it up.
They're disgruntled. They're pissed. They're pissed their team's not doing well.
Right.
I think it was a reach. And I know both of them. Give Tom a text and go, hey, man, what the heck was that about?
Well, no, Tom wasn't.
No, but
he was just setting up his analyst to have his lane.
He set it up. So,
yeah, that's what you do. That's the proper play-by-play move. Hey, you didn't like
team
that?
up.
T-Mac, I'm going to text you later, bro. We'll get you on the show. We'll talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
What an illustrious voice that is.
He's doing basketball. He's doing it all. He's
football.
Everything.
If you could put T-Mac's voice into Ben Davis's chin,
I love it.
like it would just be the most intimidating person you've ever met. Ben Davis had a good quote one time. He was just sweat. He was in this like two-piece suit, like he had his suit jacket off. It was in the middle of July. He had a button-down shirt, sweating, tie. And he was just like, whatever he was doing, whatever we were doing. He goes. Greg Murphy told me this story. He goes, wish I could have hit a curveball. Wouldn't have to be doing any of this stuff.
I call him Bazooka Ben. I'll have to ask him about that.
I wanted to make sure we gave that a little coverage because that was hot in Philadelphia.
They just got swept. I mean, shoot.
Again,
and they didn't
by
score
the
many
Mets.
runs, so they're
playing terribly right now. And they know it. Castellanos was very vocal about it the other day too. Right after
Who's
the
not
game.
playing bad?
He's
He's one of the guys doing well.
he's
He's
doing
doing a bounce
okay.
back season.
Yes, very good.
Just a lot of the guys on that team that are stars you look at their numbers and it's like average. Like if you're going OPS plus and they're like right around 100. And it's like, oh, that guy's usually 135. That's your problem. You need the stars to be stars. About to get hot.
It's June. Schwarber June. I'm just putting
Schwarberfest, they call it.
Schwarberfest.
That's why right now I'm not touching Phillies games because I know I'm going to pick an under, or I'm going to pick against them, and I'm going to get blasted, and they're going to win 7 in a row. They did it last year in June. They won how many? 9 in a row?
Hey, June.
At least.
They went on a run. So I'm like, no thanks. I'm not falling for that again. There are plenty of other games, so let's get into that right now. Our Bet MGM locks for Friday. It is Friday, right? I got all messed up with the Memorial Day weekend. I was calling each day differently. Thursday locks. You guys got real bold with your parlays. I kept it simple. I was like Strohs versus Angels. I even thought Framber was probably going to pitch, but he didn't. But I was like, we're still good.
Yeah.
Strohs pitched the lights out of the ball as usual, even with Blanco coming up and pitching, and the bullpen's nasty, and the Angels bullpen's not. And Angels fans go nuts when Aaron Loop's on the mound right now, and he gave up another run or two. Parlay didn't work out for AJ. He got too fancy. Brockstar took the under on Reds Boston. Nope. And Kratzy hit.
I may have unlocked a gem. So I'm going again tonight. But I may have unlocked the Bet MGM gem of the season.
You've got the formula now.
No. I just
money
want to
bags.
see how it goes.
Money bags. God, always around 500. Man, I got to get over the hump. I need 2 or 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Scotty looking good.
You know what I need?
Can
I borrow 50 cents so I can just get that 50 cents off of there? I'm down.
You've had the 0.5 forever. I can help you get around that.
See, one of these days, if my formula kind of feels like I'm starting to learn my formula a little bit, I'm gonna go double. I'm gonna
Double or nothing.
Figure out the odds, so I'm back to 0,
Oh,
and it's gonna be exciting. Because if I don't
Not
win,
tonight.
I don't. No, not tonight.
Are you sure?
I got. Believe me, I got my whole pamphlet back here. Not tonight yet. Not tonight yet.
Because I kind of want to pressure. Because see, now I said it, and
Under pressure.
if he wins
when
it,
you're here,
Monday he's gonna go. Damn it,
No.
man, I
Yeah.
should have just went up.
no, it's
Not
okay.
yet? Okay.
I've been waiting for this double or nothing for a little bit now, but I'm just mixing matching.
Just
'Cause
let
it's a
me know
lot.
because I'm going the other way, double or nothing.
You're fading this
Fading.
double or nothing.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm just
Bet
kidding.
MGM
I love
locks
that.
for Friday. So you start. I'm dying to know what you're going with.
I am going with it's a mouthful. It's the Angels Houston game. Okay, it's Shohei versus Framber.
Mhm.
And again, Bet MGM, they just
Excuse
they
me.
do bless you.
I'm allergic to that pick.
allergic to haven't even heard it yet. You're
I'm just allergic to it. Woo!
I know for you.
Waking up in
has
here.
has lost allergies. It's Shohei over 6 Ks
Oh.
and Framber over 7 Ks in a game where Astros do not strike out a lot. Bet MGM was gracious and they let me buy down some of those strikeouts. So I just need to hit 6 with Shohei, which the last time against
Well, you need
the
6.5.
Astros. No, I need 6. That's the beauty of this.
Oh, really?
You
But
not so sneezy now, are you
It
there,
says over 6.
Mr. Snuffles? No, it's actually 6 plus. Claudia put it in there wrong. It's 6 plus.
Hey,
So-
don't be calling
wow.
thoughts out like,
6 or more. Well, she
Firing
last time we were
darts
at the
on a Friday.
Borgata.
wow, I'm going to sneeze again.
Mate, you're not allergic to it
This
anymore.
way, though.
But Framber last time against the Angels had a million strikeouts. No, his last start he had like 12 strikeouts.
Nice.
And again, they let me buy down another strikeout. I looked at it. You could have gotten Framber at 8 strikeouts. I felt like that was a little high. I felt like
To make
going
more
into
juice,
it,
yeah, make it.
make it a lot more juice. It would have been plus 190. So I'm just gonna watch this. And I have a list of
intrigued.
teams that strike out. I mean, there's everybody. I'm loving it. I was looking at first 5 with this team. I was looking at possibly a Bregman hitting this game because he smashes Ohtani with like a total bases plus 1.5. But anyway,
He's on a roll.
you
I
go.
know.
He's going to take the
He
show
already.
over.
When you hit the over on explaining your pick and
Yeah.
it's over 60 seconds, your pick's lose.
You're the.
Dang it.
All right, let
I was
me
too
jump in
confident.
here.
What do you got?
I'm going to one of the games that I thought you were going to go to, the Bassett versus Verlander today in New York. I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say the Mets are going to win by 1.5 at plus 145, 200 to win 290. Come on, New York. Step up for me here. Let's go. Lindor, Pete Alonso might go yah-yah today, and that's in the bushes. That's way back. Let's go.
I'll bet you $100 they don't win by 1.5. It's going to either be by a whole
real
number.
number. Whole
there's no
number.
half.
It's either 1 or it's
Just 100.
Or
Five.
2 or 3.
Odds
Not
are
1.5.
plus and
He said they're going to win by 1.5.
It's never been done before.
It won't be a push.
never happened. I got Boston and Tampa Bay. I'm riding
No.
Tyler Glass now. Just money line.
I'm fading now.
You got Boston tonight?
He really
Whitlock.
likes-
I really like Whitlock at
You
home.
don't like Tyler Glass now?
Not,
Did you-
right now, I do.
His first start, he punched out 8 and 4 and change.
Against
I was,
who?
and
Against
basically
who?
only had his fastball.
Against who?
Who was that? You remember?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't remember every damn game. He looked
I'm
pretty
just
damn good
busting.
to
No,
me.
he's really
Is
good.
that
I
when they
know
lost
he's
to the
good.
Cubs? Did they lose to the Cubs?
I know he's good.
For me,
Whitlock-
no, I
Whitlock
like
is good.
Whitlock. I like Whitlock better in the bullpen.
Yes,
I
that's
will
what I was gonna
say
ask you.
that is my thing.
No.
He is an absolute weapon and a force, and I know they keep throwing him out there. That was against LA, the Dodgers. Ever heard of him?
No.
Glass now,
First time.
and he didn't have his off speed. It was his first start back in a minute for the first time.
I'm proud. But this Fenway Park, baby.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Glass now is going to shove
No, he's
minus
good. He's
135
filthy. He's
Tampa Bay
filthy.
money line. Get it done.
I'll be watching this game now.
And I can dunk on Frage, please.
Well, hey, winner
And-
gets a slice.
Fine, you're on.
Gourmet because you're cheap. I want a gourmet slice.
Gourmet slice,
All right, here we
and
go.
I got you got gourmet. I got a
with like
gluten-free
buffalo
pizza,
chicken on there.
gluten-free pizza,
Oh,
and
so
Tom's
yours is
River.
more
That's
expensive.
triple price.
Yours is more
And your-
expensive
And
than
your
Rays
piece
brought-
is like this big. Oh, that kind of was good.
Watch out for the Rays. They just won 40. They rock right-handed pitching. I'm just saying. Let's see.
First to 40.
Their
first to 30, first to 20.
Hey,
first
bonus
to
bet.
10.
It continues. Bet MGM players, you get a bonus bet to use on any sport on Wednesdays and Saturdays when you log into your account. It's that easy. Log in to the app. After you log in, you immediately get the bonus bet. If you're a website person, you can go in that way too. Bonus bet can only be used on any sport wagers. It's that simple. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Nice.
All right. Let's get a little slap hands action going right now. On a Friday, we got a couple things to cover. I got a plug and a birthday we want to shout out to. But first, let's slap hands. Todd's fired up. First off, again, thank you to Borgata for hosting us. We'll be here every other week, so if you want to come say hello in person, we're here 1 to 3 Eastern on Fridays every other week. Don't show up next week. We will not be here. But don't miss the area's best comics taking the stage at Borgata Comedy Club. You can see the full comedy club listing at theborgata.com. I'm going to go first because I actually have something to run for you from a recent appearance. It aired last weekend, but it's pretty evergreen. You can listen to it now, and it still applies. The Angels are still pretty much in the same spot. Kratzy and me went on the Locked On Angels podcast and had a blast. The hosts are fantastic. They watch every second. They are dialed in as hell. They're nice as hell. We couldn't stop talking before and after the interview. But let's just give you a little piece of what they talked about in regards to the Angels.
You know what's interesting about what you said, Scott? You said one thing. I'll share two things. One thing that you said as you were talking about Artie in 2017 and his comment about starting pitching. The funny thing is that he doesn't care about starting pitching, but he's never actually done anything, or at least allowed GMs to do anything with the bullpen. So the irony there is he hasn't done anything, right? And so that's what makes him so frustrating as an owner and as Angel fans. He just frustrates us. And then the second thing, and I think what you bumped into on Twitter was the trauma that Angel fans have gone through, and you just became the focus of that trauma because we have seen the national media not acknowledge some good things about the Angels. Now, granted, for 10 years, why pay attention to the Angels, right? Why would anybody want to pay attention to the Angels? And so what you received was this idea of like, hey, you don't even know about this guy, even though you do. But the assumption was you don't know about this guy because the narrative earlier this year was the Angels have no pitching. And then at the same time, the WBC is happening. And people are like, hey, who's this Patrick Sandoval guy? He's fantastic. What team is he on? And Angel fans were like, he's on our team, right? And so you got all of that trauma because the sense has been from Angel fans, and John and I are included in that those on the national stage just don't know what's happening exactly.
It's good stuff. And thank you to Mike and John for hosting us. And again, you can check out that pod from last weekend. But we had a good time. We went after it.
It was great. It was great. You from your kitchen nook, me from my basement. But, like, it shouldn't just be locked in. It shouldn't be locked on Angels. It should be locked. Those guys are locked.
Yes.
They are.
All caps.
All caps. Whatever emoji you need for lock. Like, put the lock on it. Like, they are. And that's, to me, that's the beauty of baseball, even more than football, because I feel like a lot of people, like somebody from New Jersey could be a huge Green Bay fan, huge Packers fan, and that's, you can really be locked in. Oh, my Uncle Joey, he grew up there, used to say big, and we made fun of him. Here, like, baseball's very regional now in that sense, and those guys are so locked into the Angels. Tough gig for them, kind of like being a Jets fan.
Yeah, it's really tough. When you have that talent and you're just not putting it together for year after year. We were able to have this therapy session where we're like, yo, we're with you, Angels fans.
We're here for you.
We know you're not with us because you want, like, to be in a corner and just, like, have a temper tantrum by yourself. And again, just some Angels fans that were going off. So it was a good time. I encourage you to give it a listen. We all had a good time bashing ownership because that's something we can all agree on. Angels ownership, A's ownership, same kind of deal. What do you got on your head?
Today, we got the brouhahas. It was more of like the military appreciation hats. It was kind of, I think we wore them for Memorial Day. I think we wore them for July 4th. And Schauger. Like, we got to have Jason Schauger, the equipment guy. That's who Big Woo was talking about, who lost his bat. the Kershaw home run bat. He designs all this. I mean, he helps design all this stuff. Obviously, it's New Era that does it, but they get the stars. They have military appreciation on Sundays. The hat's legit.
No, it's a great hat. That's one that you can kind of like sneak into the woods and no one finds
exactly.
it. Like
Listen,
not every
you go-
hat has to pop. Is what my
No,
point
you're
is.
right.
No,
That's cool.
It's not the Diversión hats. It's not the Copa Diversión hats that I've been wearing from the minor leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And you can borrow this if you weren't if you were more like a size 7 5/8 when
No,
you're
I'm
with
not. That
when
thing
you're
would-
with AJ. When
thing
you're with
would be
AJ
over my face.
hunting boars down in Arizona.
One
I
day.
mean, down in Orlando.
Mhm. Well, we will get your guy on the Brew Crew territory popped a little bit this week with the Brandon Woodruff story about the bat because no one knew about it.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't even know
the
about it.
lost bat. The
I was
famous
there.
lost bat. Yes.
I have it in my. That might be a Ken Golden thing.
You should have taken that out.
Let's bring that out when Big Lou's in the Hall of Fame. Hey, happy birthday to Jeremy Meyer, one of our super producer directors behind the scenes and our whole crew clapping it up for him too. My hands are full, but we appreciate you, man. Thank you for doing everything that you do, and thank you to everyone for checking us out here on a Friday in AC. Rach just like itching to get back to the table.
Haven't played yet. I'm ready to run.
He hasn't played, but he's got chips on the table. I don't understand.
Thanks
Chip
to
in
Kenny
a chair.
Ballgame Rosenthal, Ross Stripling, and Whit Merrifield and his golf tournament, which we'll post more information about. Have a great weekend. FT Live back in our normal homes. But again, thanks to Borgata here in Atlantic City. We'll be back in this location, 1 o'clock Eastern, 2 weeks from now. Happy Friday.